Welcome into episode number 3 of Sports Burst. I'm Gabriela Amado, and this is Andres Cordero, who's zipping his jacket.
That's a break
for
start.
Style purposes. Today is?
What is today?
It's National Taco Day.
Oh, I'm a fan of tacos.
How do you feel about tacos?
I feel like if you don't like tacos, I don't trust you. And there's probably a story here, and I don't want to hear it.
Oh my, and do you know what today also is? It's National Vodka Day. So vodka and tacos are what everyone should be eating and drinking today, not at work, so keep that for after work. But yeah, that's the thing.
Now I'm feeling nostalgic for the World Cup.
Oh, hashtag we missed the World Cup in Russia and vodka. But yes, have a taco and comment below with your favorite taco and we'll see if we agree with you. You're an al pastor guy, right? You said?
Al pastor.
Al pastor guy.
You're thinking of Javier Pastore?
Yes! Yes, and on that topic, we'll start with what we have on our rundown today. We hop on the Messi praise train and list off his latest records because yesterday was, let's be real, Messi
I think we should
day.
do a segment on footballers as tacos.
Oh, you're onto something. Then we'll play a little. So do you know why this is here?
Oh, no.
This is a green drink, and we're going to play the game Think or Drink, which involves this disgusting beverage and Dre in a full Champions League recap. So you guys won't want to miss it. Don't smell it. You don't want to smell it. You don't want to know what's in there. And then we make you hipsters out there smile with a look into the Europa League action today. All of this on Sports Burst that starts right now.
I literally can't hear it.
Words, our Ray Hudson would be proud to hear us say, magisterial Messi. La Pulga left the world speechless yet again after his performance against Tottenham, becoming the top scorer in the UCL group stage history and officially scoring 40+ goals for club and country for 10 years in a row. What else is there to say? Dre, Messi has done it again.
Yeah, I love that my first sports burst is literally after that performance because today I'm not the only one, right? Everybody's talking about Lionel Messi was absolutely brilliant. And, you know, we've been talking about the best ever since the FIFA awards. And I don't want to take anything away from Luka Modric, who I think deserved the honor, who I thought was absolutely sensational throughout. But what isn't Messi currently the best at that he does? When he's up front, he's the best forward. When he's in the center of the park, he's the best midfielder. And yesterday was one of those performances that reminds you, we've been saying this about him for 15 years now, and he somehow continues to find ways to delight and surprise you with his play. 2 goals, again, for Lionel Messi. He hits the woodwork again twice. He's got 9 times he's hit the post this season. So you could add almost 9 extra goals to the 10 that he has in all competitions. He was phenomenal. The best at free kicks, the best at dribbling, the best at passing, the best in his vision. This was a breathtaking performance.
Stage. Well, not even on the FIFA best stage,
right.
Which, I mean, after a performance like yesterday, you do have to question what these best awards are all about.
Again, I don't want to go there because the individual honors are, in my view, nonsensical. I think they're not sort of narrowly defined. There's a politic to why people vote the way they do. We only have 15 minutes today, so I don't want to get too much into that. But I do want to it's breathtaking how often, how regularly, how consistently he plays this way. And sometimes it takes, you know, the English media popping up to watch Spurs against Barcelona to realize, wow, this guy is absolutely special every single time, and it's ludicrous that he wouldn't be on that stage.
And it's something that maybe we do take for granted because we watch him week in and week out here on beIN Sports, and I don't think that we necessarily realize what we're watching.
One thing I think we need to take into account, at the start of this season, Messi raised some eyebrows when, in the presentation at the Camp Nou, he said, we want to bring that big year trophy back to the Camp Nou. And when you see him play like this, we're used to seeing his, you know, shots and dribbles and just his overall influence in the game. What we don't see as consistently is Messi run this much. When Messi runs, everybody else runs, and you saw that yesterday from the opening minute.
And I think he's trying to prove what he said to be correct.
Right.
They want it, but do you think that they have the team to do it besides Messi?
I do. I don't think they had shown the potential or the ability up until today. I think they've been sort of regular-ish in terms of their play. It hasn't been spectacular. Yesterday was the best game they've put together by far. And I think it has as much to do with Arthur, if you like, as it does with Messi's performance, with Suarez, who I thought was sensational, Rakitic, who scored arguably the goal of the season or one of the goals of the season. I think the most consequential thing that we'll take from that game, potentially, is the emergence of Arthur in the middle of the park. What Valverde did was he put 3 central midfielders there, along with Coutinho, who was wider still, Rakitic, Busquets, Arthur. And Arthur, I love watching him play because he's just always, he doesn't want to be the star, but he's always there. How can I help you? You know, and so you saw with whether Busquets or Rakitic, he's just popping up. How can I make this situation better? Give me the ball. You're going to get it back. What we haven't seen yet from him is those penetrative passes that lead to goals, but he gives them so much more control in the middle of the park that this is, I think, the most dangerous version of Barcelona, and Valverde is going to have to make a space there for Artur.
So this is a Barcelona side that we saw draw to Athletic Bilbao, lose to Leganés, and draw to Girona in La Liga. Do you think that this Champions League game pretty much fixes those maybe questions that were coming to mind after seeing those La Liga performances?
I don't know if it fixes it, especially if it's a matter of desire, if it's a matter of hunger. If that wasn't there against the likes of the Leganeses and whatnot, then I don't know that this necessarily fixes that. And so Barcelona are going to churn up for a big Champions League game like this. I don't think the motivation would have been a doubt. The question is Valverde making them consistently motivated for all of the games and whatnot? We don't know that being outside of the locker room.
Right. And
we need a larger sample size, I think, of this season to really answer that question. But what I take away from this game is Barcelona have too many starters, right? Arturo Vidal could start on this team, Artur could start on this team, Coutinho or Dembele could start on this team, and Valverde has to make those decisions. And I think what we take away from that game is maybe Artur is sort of in line to get more starts. Coutinho almost has to start, and so what does that mean for Dembele? What does that mean for Arturo Vidal?
Right.
It's a cliche, but it is a good problem for Valverde.
Absolutely, a great problem to have. And just piggybacking off of Messi's performance, he couldn't have done it without a man by the name of Jordi Alba, who Luis Enrique released his Spain squad today, and Jordi Alba is not in it. Do you want to know who's in his place?
Yep.
Jonathan Castro Otto from Wolverhampton.
Right, yeah.
Can you explain to me what is happening?
Especially at that position, there aren't that many sort of great left backs on the planet. And whatever you think about Jordi Alba, he's one of the top left backs on the planet. They have some history from their days at Barcelona together. It's not a secret. And I am a bit surprised. Now, there's some suggestion that Jordi Alba's not 100% fit, that he's a little bit nicked up.
Maybe a hat-trick of assists.
Maybe that gives him an excuse.
Fit. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm buying that.
Yeah, neither am I.
But really shocking from Luis Enrique.
And the other options, I mean, Jose Luis Gaya is there. He's okay.
But Jordi Alba is to at least be on the squad. We're not even talking about starting for the Spanish national team. To be included in the squad.
I want to muster up some outrage, but I can't do it about the left back position.
So I'll do it for you.
Please.
Let's hit the comments. Radu Marinescu saying Tottenham paid dearly for not doing anything in the transfer window. Now that's a whole nother topic. Pochettino bought 0 players. Tottenham bought 0 players. They had a slew of injuries yesterday, and maybe that is part of their problem.
Sure, and if you want to sort of have these letdowns, it's much better to have it in the Champions League group stage and potentially advance than later on down the line. It was sort of an abridged version of Tottenham. They weren't at full strength. I can't go into their transfer window now or whatnot. But I think we saw Barcelona as the better team on Spurs' home ground, and I don't think the result would have been dramatically different if both teams were fully fit.
Really? So you think Dele Alli would not have made a difference?
No, not that it wouldn't have made a difference. I don't think it would have made a dramatic enough difference. This was Barcelona at their best. And if you're asking me about Barcelona at their best versus Spurs at their best, I'm going to pick Barcelona to win that game. So.
Very good. Brandon Burns saying, how do you leave Jordi out of the squad? What a joke. ! I am with you, Brendan. I think it's a joke. So do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
Game time. We are going to play a little game called Drink or Think. So, Dre, I will ask you questions.
I brought my own drink.
No. We have this provided for you.
Gotcha.
I'm going to ask you questions that maybe some people will think are silly or a little dramatic. You are going to absolutely hate every single one of them because I know you.
Okay.
And you're going to have to decide whether you take a swig of that drink or answer my question.
I think there's a hair floating on the top of this thing.
Oh, there's so many surprises in there. You just wait and see. So, question number 1. Real Madrid are in total crisis after their loss yesterday. Lopetegui must be sacked. Question mark. Seriously? Already?
That's not very good.
Okay, so let me simplify the question a little bit then. Okay. What is going on with Real Madrid? A 1-0 loss in Moscow. What does this mean?
There are no real crises in October. You're not going to win the Champions League. You're not going to win La Liga. You're not going to lose the Champions League or lose La Liga in October. So, I reference Barcelona as a faux crisis, right, when they won 3 games in La Liga without a win. What's different about Madrid, what's wrong with Real Madrid, it's perfectly natural for them to have an adaptation period, having lost Zinedine Zidane, who had immediate clout in that dressing room, who was involved, forget his playing days, even as a coach, as an assistant at the team, and sort of was the perfect scenario, the perfect storm. So now you have to replace a coach that seemed to be the absolute best case scenario for that particular club. Not necessarily the best manager on the planet, but the best manager for that situation. Mm-hmm. He's gone, you've got new ideas, a different thing, and a manager who I think has to convince the locker room. Lopetegui, for all of his virtues as a coach, the fact that he was an Spanish national team, doesn't have the immediate clout that Zinedine Zidane has. That aside, you also lose Cristiano Ronaldo without being able to replace his goals, right? So you now have a coach that still has some proving to do, and you haven't replaced the guy who scores 50 goals a year for you. I don't think it's going to be, long-term catastrophic for Real Madrid. I think they can still compete, but it's perfectly natural that they would be sort of through an adaptation period at the moment. And by the way, they're level on points with Barcelona at the top of the league table, so it's not exactly horrendous.
Correct, but you have your pure number 9 in Benzema, who has not scored a goal or had a shot on target in 6 matches.
I'm not kidding. I think there was a hair on top of that. You were saying.
Well, that's what you get for not answering if Lopetegui should be sacked. And Benzema, who's not finishing the goals that need to be finished.
Right.
I mean, this is a huge 6 matches, guys. 6.
And Karim Benzema.
And how do you fix that?
Benzema was brilliant as a facilitator when he's got, Cristiano Ronaldo to sort of lay the ball off to, when he's the reference point, and you've got the likes of Gareth Bale and Cristiano flying around him. Now he's being asked to take more of the goal-scoring responsibility on his own shoulders, and it's hard to flip that switch when you haven't been doing it consistently. He's been more of a sort of facilitator than goal scorer the last couple of seasons. And
because of his relationship with CR7, they were able to link up so well.
And I'm not sure that you can just throw in an Asensio into that role and ask him to be Cristiano Ronaldo, or throw Mariano Diaz out there and ask him to be Raul or Luis Suarez. These are guys who still have sort of to prove themselves as superstars, and they haven't.
No, absolutely. And Salvador Castro making a really good point. It has to be some good sips, not those, ooh, this coffee's so hot.
You know what? That was the first one.
So just wait. Moving along, Hoffenheim score a goal against Manchester City. Pep Guardiola is officially overrated.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Really?
No, of course not.
Oh, he's going to answer this one. This one I thought for sure was going to get a mega swig.
No, I think this one just sort of activated my reflexes. Like, what do you? Because I hear this at least once. There's such a desperation by some sector of the population of the footballing world to discredit Pep Guardiola in some way, right? It's either, well, he only did it at Barcelona and Bayern Munich, or he's always had one of the best players. There's always an excuse for the guy who I think is the absolute best manager on the planet. The idea that he's overrated after what he did with Manchester City last year, the triple-digit points or whatnot, is ridiculous on its face. And you know what? Here's the thing. Here's why I didn't drink. I don't think anybody actually believes that. Okay. I think some people might believe that Real Madrid are actually in a crisis mode. I don't want to answer the first one. I'll answer the second.
Okay, cool. But now Manchester City's current situation in their quest for the Champions League, do they have it to do it this year? Do they have the players? Do they have the team? Do they have the depth to do it this year, what they weren't able to do last year?
I think every year there's a group of anywhere between 4 and 5 or 6 teams that are the elite. Every season it seems like there's a consolidation of power toward the top. The trend has always been toward the super clubs. That's why you keep hearing whispers of a super league propping up or whatnot. Manchester City are absolutely in that list. Now, are they the odds-on favorite? Not necessarily, but on that list, you have Barcelona, you have Real Madrid, whatever struggles they've had early in the season. You have Manchester City. You always have Bayern Munich, whatever struggles they have early in the season. And I would add Paris Saint-Germain. And so Manchester City are absolutely in that conversation.
Wow. Okay, so we'll hit the next question. So Mourinho has a master plan to get Manchester United knocked out of the Champions League before he's sacked, so that he really just screws them nicely before leaving. Wow, big sip. Big sip. So you don't want to answer about Mourinho's master plan?
I don't want to talk about Jose Mourinho or Manchester United at all.
Wowzers!
He's long overdue to be sacked. He's been throwing players under the bus since before he arrived at Manchester United. Whatever tactics, whatever man management skills made Jose Mourinho one of the best managers on the planet, and that's undeniable. We saw players cry when he left Inter. We saw players absolutely love him. Something happened during his period at Real Madrid. There was some transformation in Spain where Jose Mourinho became a caricature of himself. And now he's throwing his best players under the bus constantly. Nothing is ever his fault. It's tiring. I'm sick of it, and I don't want to talk about Jose Mourinho.
Okay, well, moving along, we'll touch quickly on today's action, which is the Europa League. Soccer hipsters will be very happy. Dre, you're a little bit of a hipster yourself. I'm going to self-proclaim you a hipster. What games are you looking forward to today?
Well, you can't self-proclaim me anything. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to self-proclaim. No, okay, I'm going to proclaim you a hipster. Correct. What games are you looking forward to today?
I'm not, honestly.
None?
I'm not.
You mean to tell me, let me look at my list here, that you are not looking forward to Astana versus Rennes?
No,
Milan
have a pretty decent one, and actually,
it is a good one.
I want to take a look at Milan's game today. But the Europa League last couple of seasons has actually gotten really interesting, especially in the knockout stages, because you have big teams that parachute out of the Champions League and into the Europa League, and then sort of that props up the tournament because you have big team against big team. Right now, it's a lot of minnows against some teams that weren't good enough to qualify for the Champions League. I'm not interested at this point. Talk to me once the Champions League group stage is over and those teams parachute down, then the Europa League matters.
Okay, so you're looking forward to Milan Olympiacos, which is going to be a great match. And Karabakh versus Arsenal, just a little bit of a history lesson for you. Henri Mkhitaryan is not traveling today because of a little bit of political issues. Yeah. He's Armenian, and obviously he can't travel to Azerbaijan. So that's really interesting, and I think, we need to remember that things are happening in the world.
You give me too much credit for being on top of world events, but it's
Well,
educational.
dropping some knowledge on you guys, so there you go. A shout out to the U.S. women's national team who begin their World Cup qualifying quest tonight against Mexico. Then they take on Panama on Sunday, so we'll be watching out for them. Yep. And tonight you're on the Extra with Kevin Egan.
I don't think we should reference them as the U.S. women's national team. They're the most significant U.S. national team, so I think we should assume from now on.
I love
when we say the national team, we're talking about the women's team.
The ballers that they are. So you are on with Kevin Egan tonight. I will make sure that he has this straight so you can finish it tonight. And that's all we have for Sports Verse. We'll see you guys tomorrow.